Brackettville, Texas, September 23, 1958. The desert sun beats down mercilessly on the Rio Bravo film set as cast and crew prepare for one of the most dangerous scenes in the movie. John Wayne, 51 years old and at the peak of his career, adjusts his leather vest and checks the positioning of the explosive charges that will simulate gunfire hitting the building behind him. What happens in the next 45 seconds will create a Hollywood legend and establish what industry professionals still call the Wayne standard. The idea that nothing, absolutely nothing, should stop a film from being completed even when the star is literally on fire. And director Howard Hawks calls for quiet on the set. Rio Bravo has been filming for 3 months in the unforgiving Texas heat, but today's scene is particularly complex. Wayne's character, Sheriff John Chance, must hold off a gang of outlaws while explosive charges simulate bullet hits on the building behind him. The leather vest Wayne wears is authentic period costume, thick cowhide treated with oils and waxes to achieve the weathered look. Hawks demands for authenticity. The special effects team, led by coordinator Jake Morrison, has rigged a series of small explosive charges along the building's facade. These squibs are designed to create the illusion of bullets striking wood and stone, throwing up convincing sprays of dust and debris. It's standard Hollywood technology for 1958, considered safe when properly executed. But film sets are inherently unpredictable environments where the margin for error can disappear in a split second. Wayne has been performing his own stunts for 20 years. At 51, he's older than most actors who attempt such physical work, but his pride and professionalism won't allow him to step aside for a double during what should be a routine action sequence. Besides, Wayne has never been hurt seriously on a film set. His luck, skill, and careful preparation have kept him safe through dozens of dangerous scenes in films like Red River, She Wore a Yellow Ribbon, and The Quiet Man. The setup requires Wayne to stand approximately 15 feet from the building while the charges explode in sequence behind him. Close enough for the camera to capture both Wayne and the explosions in the same frame, far enough away to keep the star safe from flying debris. Morrison and Hawks have rehearsed the timing precisely. Wayne knows exactly where to stand, when to move, how to react to each explosion for maximum dramatic effect. But something goes wrong with the fourth charge in the sequence. Instead of exploding outward from the building as designed, the fourth squib malfunctions and shoots a stream of burning chemical residue directly toward Wayne. The flaming material arcs through the air like a miniature comet, covering the 15 feet between building and actor in less than a second. Wayne, focused on his performance and the timing of his reactions, doesn't see the danger until it's too late. The burning chemical strikes Wayne's leather vest just below his left shoulder, instantly igniting the oil-treated cowhide. Leather, especially leather treated with period-appropriate oils and waxes, burns with surprising intensity. Within seconds, flames spread across the left side of Wayne's vest, creating a growing patch of fire directly against his chest and back. Morrison sees the malfunction immediately and shouts a warning, but the sound mixing equipment and general set noise prevent his voice from carrying clearly. Hawks, watching through the camera viewfinder, realizes something is wrong when he sees smoke rising from Wayne's costume, but the angle makes it difficult to assess the situation's severity. Wayne feels the heat before he sees the flames. The leather vest, now burning against his shirt and skin, creates intense, focused heat that immediately signals danger. A normal person would stop everything, call for help, try to remove the burning clothing. Wayne does something else entirely. He continues acting. "Cut? No, don't cut," Wayne calls out, seeing Morrison and Hawks start to move toward him. "Keep rolling. I can finish the scene." What happens next becomes the stuff of Hollywood legend. For 45 seconds that feel like an eternity to everyone watching, Wayne continues his performance while his costume burns. He delivers his dialogue with perfect timing, hits his marks with professional precision, maintains his character's demeanor and motivation, all while flames consume the left side of his vest and begin threatening the shirt underneath. Have you ever been so committed to something that you ignored your own safety to complete it? That moment when dedication crosses the line from admirable to dangerous, but you can't bring yourself to stop. The flames grow larger and more dangerous with each passing second. The oil-treated leather feeds the fire enthusiastically, creating heat intense enough to singe Wayne's shirt and threaten his skin. Smoke rises from his costume in visible wisps that the cameras capture, along with Wayne's determined performance. Cast members Dean Martin and Ricky Nelson, positioned for the next shot, watch in horrified fascination as Wayne continues working while literally on fire. Martin later recalls thinking Wayne had lost his mind, but being too stunned to intervene. Nelson, only 19 years old and new to Hollywood, doesn't understand what he's witnessing until years later when industry veterans explain the significance of Wayne's actions. Hawks keeps the cameras rolling, partly because Wayne demanded it, partly because he recognizes he's witnessing something extraordinary. In 40 years of filmmaking, Hawks has seen actors work through injuries, illnesses, and personal crises, but he's never seen anyone continue performing while actually burning. The footage being captured will become some of the most talked about material in Hollywood history, though studio executives will ultimately decide it's too dangerous to include in the final film. Morrison and his effects team stand frozen, unsure how to help without ruining the shot. Wayne is clearly determined to complete. Fire extinguishers are readily available, but using them would require rushing onto the set while cameras are rolling, potentially destroying the scene. Wayne is sacrificing his safety to finish. The heat becomes unbearable. Wayne's shirt begins to smolder beneath the burning vest, and the pain transitions from uncomfortable to genuinely dangerous. But Wayne has committed to finishing the scene, and John Wayne never breaks his commitments. He delivers his final lines with the same authority and presence he brings to every performance, even as flames continue consuming his costume. "That's how we do it in Rio Bravo," Wayne says, completing his dialogue while fire dances across his chest. The words carry special meaning given the circumstances, a declaration of professional determination that transcends the script's original intention. Only when Hawks calls "cut" does Wayne allow the crew to rush forward with fire extinguishers and wet blankets. Morrison reaches him first, smothering the flames with practiced efficiency while cursing the equipment malfunction that created the dangerous situation. Wayne stands perfectly still during the fire suppression, maintaining the same calm demeanor he displayed while acting. The damage assessment reveals second-degree burns across Wayne's chest and left shoulder, painful but not life-threatening injuries that will require medical treatment and several weeks of healing. The leather vest is completely destroyed, reduced to charred fragments that Morrison collects as evidence for the post-incident investigation. "How do you feel, Duke?" Hawks asks as the set medic examines Wayne's burns. Wayne's response becomes as legendary as his decision to keep acting while on fire. Cowboys don't fear fire, they use it to brand cattle and cook beans. This was just a little barbecue. The crew erupts in nervous laughter, releasing tension that has been building since the moment Wayne's costume ignited. But beneath the humor, everyone present understands they've witnessed something remarkable, a display of professional commitment and personal toughness that sets a new standard for dedication to the craft of filmmaking. Wayne refuses immediate hospital treatment, insisting that the set medic's first aid is sufficient for now. He wants to review the footage to determine whether the scene is usable or needs to be reshot. His primary concern isn't his own injury, but whether the film has what it needs to move forward on schedule. "We got the shot," Duke Hawks assures him. "It's good. It's more than good. It's extraordinary. But we're taking you to the hospital anyway." Wayne finally agrees to medical treatment, but only after ensuring that production can continue without him. While he recovers, he spends the evening in a Brackettville clinic, having his burns cleaned and dressed, receiving pain medication and antibiotics to prevent infection. The doctor who treats him can't believe Wayne continued working while his clothing burned. "In 30 years of practicing medicine, I've never seen anyone ignore this level of pain to finish a job," the doctor tells Hawks. "Either your star has an exceptionally high pain tolerance, or he's completely insane." Hawks considers the assessment. Probably both. Word of Wayne's fire incident spreads through Hollywood within hours. The story grows with each telling, becoming more dramatic and impressive as it passes from person to person. Some versions have Wayne on fire for several minutes. Others claim he was completely engulfed in flames. All versions emphasize the same core truth. John Wayne continued acting while his costume burned, putting the film's needs ahead of his own safety. The incident establishes what becomes known throughout the film industry as the Wayne Standard, the idea that professional actors should be willing to work through any difficulty, discomfort, or danger to ensure their film's success. It's a standard that few actors can meet and that many consider dangerously irresponsible, but it becomes part of Wayne's legend and influences Hollywood's understanding of what separates true professionals from mere performers. Wayne returns to work 3 days later, his burns bandaged but his determination unchanged. He insists on completing the remaining Rio Bravo scenes on schedule, despite doctors' orders to rest for at least a week. The replacement leather vest fits differently than the original, but Wayne adapts his movement and positioning to accommodate the costume change without affecting his performance. Cast and crew treat Wayne differently after the fire incident. There's a new level of respect tinged with concern about working with someone whose commitment to the job might override basic self-preservation instincts. Dean Martin privately tells Hawks that Wayne's dedication makes everyone else look like amateurs, but also worries about what Wayne might do if faced with even greater danger. "Duke would probably keep acting if the entire set was collapsing," Martin observes. "That's admirable and terrifying at the same time." Hawks uses the fire incident as a teaching moment for younger cast members like Ricky Nelson. What Duke did was brave and professional, but it was also stupid and dangerous, Hawks explains. "Don't ever think you need to risk your life to prove your commitment to a film. But do understand that Duke's willingness to sacrifice for his work is what separates legends from ordinary actors." The lesson resonates throughout Hollywood as the story spreads. Young actors hear about Wayne's fire scene and try to emulate his dedication, sometimes with dangerous results. Studio insurance departments begin writing new policies that specifically prohibit actors from continuing work during equipment malfunctions or safety emergencies, regardless of their personal preferences. But Wayne's action also inspires a generation of filmmakers to push boundaries in pursuit of authentic, powerful cinema. If John Wayne can act while on fire, other artists reason, then they can find ways to overcome whatever obstacles stand between them and their creative visions. The footage of Wayne acting while burning becomes legendary within the industry, though audiences never see it. Studio executives, concerned about liability and the precedent it might set, decide the material is too dangerous to include in Rio Bravo. The scene is reshot with Wayne in a new costume, using safer special effects techniques that eliminate the risk of actor injury. But the original footage isn't destroyed. It's preserved in studio archives as a testament to Wayne's professionalism and a reminder of how dangerous film production can be when safety protocols fail. Decades later, film students and industry professionals view the footage as both an inspiration and a cautionary tale about the balance between artistic dedication and personal safety. Wayne's burns heal within 2 weeks, leaving faint scars that he carries for the rest of his life. He never mentions the injury in interviews, downplaying the incident whenever journalists ask about it. To Wayne, continuing to act while his costume burned was simply doing his job under difficult circumstances, not the heroic gesture others make it out to be. Any cowboy worth his salt knows how to deal with fire, Wayne tells a reporter who asks about the incident. It's part of the job. You don't stop branding cattle just because you get a little singed. But privately, Wayne acknowledges that the fire incident represents something significant about his approach to acting and filmmaking. In letters to friends and family, he reflects on the choice to continue working despite the danger, trying to understand what drove him to prioritize the film over his own safety. I think I kept acting because stopping would have meant admitting that something could beat me. Wayne writes to his brother Robert, maybe that's pride talking, or maybe it's professionalism. Either way, I'm not sorry I did it. The scene was important, and we got it done right. The fire incident becomes a defining moment in Wayne's career, though not in the way anyone might expect. Rather than making him more cautious about dangerous scenes, the experience reinforces Wayne's belief that actors must be willing to sacrifice for their art. He continues performing his own stunts well into his 60s, accepting risks that younger actors might avoid. More importantly, the incident establishes Wayne's reputation as the ultimate professional, someone whose commitment to filmmaking transcends normal human limitations. Directors begin seeking Wayne for projects specifically because they know he'll find ways to deliver what the film needs, regardless of personal cost or comfort. Howard Hawks later calls Wayne's decision to continue acting while on fire the most professional thing I've ever seen on a film set. The praise means more to Wayne than any award or critical acclaim, coming from a director whose respect Wayne values above almost any other recognition. Rio Bravo becomes one of Wayne's most successful films, though audiences never know how close they came to losing their favorite star during production. The movie grosses over $5 million domestically and establishes Wayne as Hollywood's most bankable Western star for the next decade. But industry insiders know the real story. They know about the 45 seconds when John Wayne literally burned for his art, refusing to let physical danger compromise his performance. The story becomes part of Hollywood mythology, passed down through generations of filmmakers as an example of what true dedication looks like. When Wayne dies in 1979, obituaries mention his courage in war films, his embodiment of American values, his influence on popular culture. But among film industry professionals, Wayne is remembered most for the day he acted while on fire, establishing a standard of professional commitment that no one has matched before or since. The Wayne standard becomes shorthand for any display of extraordinary dedication to completing a film. Those studio safety regulations now prevent actors from taking the kinds of risks Wayne accepted as part of his job. Modern productions would shut down immediately if a star's costume caught fire, prioritizing safety over schedule in ways that Wayne's era didn't always consider. Some critics argue that Wayne's fire incident represents the toxic masculinity of old Hollywood, where proving toughness mattered more than protecting people's well-being. Others see it as the ultimate expression of artistic integrity, putting the needs of the film above personal comfort or safety. Wayne himself never engaged in these debates, viewing the incident as simply part of his job rather than a statement about masculinity or artistic dedication. To him, continuing to act while his costume burned was no different from working through illness, injury, or personal problems, all part of what professional actors do to ensure their films succeed. But the incident's impact on Hollywood culture is undeniable. For decades, after Wayne's fire scene, actors and directors measure their own commitment against the standard Wayne set on that September day in Bracketville. Very few meet the standard, and most are wise enough not to try. Jake Morrison, the special effects coordinator whose equipment malfunction caused the fire, continues working in Hollywood for another 20 years. He implements new safety protocols designed to prevent similar incidents, but he never forgets watching John Wayne act while burning. The experience changes Morrison's understanding of what actors might be willing to endure for their craft. Duke taught me that some people care about their work more than they care about themselves. Morrison reflects late in his career. That's inspiring and dangerous, and something I never wanted to see again. But I'm glad I saw it once, because it showed me what true professionalism looks like. The Bracketville Clinic, where Wayne received treatment, keeps a framed photo of the burned leather vest in the doctor's office for years afterward. Patients seeing the charred costume fragments often don't believe the story about a movie star continuing to act while on fire, but locals who witnessed the filming confirm every detail. In 1998, 40 years after the incident, the American Film Institute includes Wayne's fire scene in a documentary about Hollywood's most dangerous moments. The footage of Wayne acting while his costume burns becomes some of the most requested archival material in film history, viewed by students, historians, and industry professionals trying to understand what drove Wayne to such huge dedication. Today, the Wayne standard remains a reference point in discussions about professional commitment and artistic integrity. While no modern actor would be allowed to continue working while on fire, Wayne's decision represents an ideal of dedication that transcends specific circumstances. Film schools use the incident as a case study in both professional excellence and safety awareness, teaching students to admire Wayne's commitment while understanding why such risks are no longer acceptable in modern film production. The lesson is complex. Honor dedication, but protect people first. Sometimes the most legendary moments come from split-second decisions to keep working, when everything tells you to stop. Wayne's choice to act while on fire lasted only 45 seconds, but it created a standard of professional commitment that has influenced Hollywood for over 6 decades. The flames that consumed Wayne's leather vest have been extinguished for more than half a century, but the standard they created still burns bright. Not because actors should risk their lives for entertainment, but because Wayne's example reminds us what it means to care about work so deeply that personal comfort becomes secondary to professional excellence. And unfortunately, they don't make men like John Wayne anymore. Men who understand that sometimes the show must go on, even when everything is literally on fire. Men who know that true professionals find ways to deliver what's needed, regardless of personal cost. Men who set standards so high that they become legends, told and retold through generations of people who wish they had that kind of dedication to their own work. The legacy of Wayne's fire incident extends far beyond Hollywood. Military instructors use the story to teach soldiers about commitment under pressure. Corporate trainers reference Wayne's dedication when discussing professional excellence. But the story also serves as a cautionary tale about the dangers of toxic dedication. Modern workplace safety experts point to Wayne's fire incident as an example of how cultural expectations can pressure people into dangerous decisions. The debate continues decades after Wayne's death. Was his choice inspiring professionalism or dangerous self-destruction? The answer probably depends on perspective, but the incident's impact on popular culture remains undeniable. Modern film insurance policies specifically reference the Wayne standard as an example of unacceptable risk-taking, regardless of artistic merit. Union contracts include Wayne clauses that give performers the right to stop work when safety is compromised. These protections exist partly because Wayne's example inspired other actors to take similar risks in pursuit of professional recognition. Several serious injuries in the 1960s and 1970s resulted from performers trying to match Wayne's level of commitment, leading to industry-wide safety reforms. The fire incident also influenced Wayne's approach to mentoring younger actors. Throughout the 1960s and 1970s, Wayne frequently advised rising stars about the difference between necessary risks and dangerous showmanship. Do your job, do it well, but don't try to prove yourself by getting hurt. Wayne told a young Clint Eastwood, "The camera doesn't care if you're in pain, and the audience shouldn't have to worry about whether you survived making their entertainment." This advice reflects Wayne's evolving understanding of the fire incident's significance. While he never regretted his decision to continue acting while burning, he recognized that his choice set an unsustainable standard for others to follow. Wayne began emphasizing smart professionalism over dramatic gestures of commitment. When asked directly about the fire incident in later interviews, Wayne consistently downplayed its significance while acknowledging its impact on his reputation. "I made a choice in the heat of the moment, literally, and it worked out fine. But I wouldn't recommend it to anyone else. There are easier ways to show you care about your work." This measured response disappointed journalists hoping for more dramatic commentary, but it reflected Wayne's mature perspective on an incident that had taken on mythological proportions in Hollywood culture. Wayne understood that the story's power came not from his specific actions, but from what those actions revealed about dedication, professionalism, and the willingness to sacrifice for something larger than oneself. The final word on Wayne's fire incident comes from Howard Hawks, the director who captured it on film and decided whether to continue rolling while his star burned. In Hawks's 1977 autobiography, he writes, Duke's decision to keep acting while on fire wasn't about bravery or machismo or proving anything to anyone. It was about completing something he had started, honoring his commitment to the film and everyone working on it. That's what true professionalism looks like. Not the dramatic gesture, but the quiet determination to deliver what you promised, no matter what obstacles arise. I've worked with hundreds of actors over 50 years, and I've never seen anyone else make that choice. I hope I never see it again, because it means something went wrong with our safety protocols. But I'm grateful I witnessed it once, because it showed me the absolute peak of what professional dedication can look like when everything else falls away. Hawks's assessment captures the complexity of Wayne's fire incident, simultaneously inspiring and cautionary, admirable and dangerous, legendary and unrepeatable. It represents a moment when one man's commitment to his craft transcended normal human limitations, creating a standard that continues to influence discussions about professional excellence. Nearly 70 years later, the flames that consumed Wayne's leather vest in a Texas desert have long since been extinguished, but the standard they created continues to burn in the imagination of anyone who has ever wondered what true dedication looks like when tested by fire. Literal or metaphorical. Wayne's 45 seconds of acting while burning became a lifetime legacy of professional excellence that few can match and none have exceeded. Sometimes the most important moments last less than a minute, but influence generations. Wayne's choice to continue acting while on fire lasted 45 seconds and created a legend that has endured for decades, inspiring some, cautioning others, but reminding everyone what it looks like when someone cares more about their work than their own comfort. That's the Wayne standard, not reckless endangerment, but absolute commitment. Not seeking danger, but refusing to let danger stop you from doing what you promised to do. Not everyone can meet that standard, and not everyone should try, but everyone can learn from the man who set it while his clothes were on fire and his work was unfinished.